All right, welcome back, Annuity Producers Video Podcast. So today I have somebody very special. Many of you know who he is. It is the myth, the man, the legend, Mr. Garrett Burrow, who is my partner, great friend, and we've been working together now for many years, and we wouldn't have been able to be where we're at without his contributions and his support. It's a perfect dichotomy between us. I am like this crazy squirrel with all these random ideas, and he is the master, like the orchestrator of it all, and organizes it and making sure that everything gets done the right way. So it's really fun. We've been working together for years. A lot of you know Garrett, and I wanted to take a little bit of time today to share one of Garrett's absolute specialties. He is a phenomenal rock star, better than I am, at online lead calling and booking appointments and actually getting deals across the line. Because as we talked about, there are seminars, there's workshops, all that fun stuff, referral business, and we love doing workshops, but it's not the only line of business that we do. You can't just have one marketing avenue. You have to have multiple. Even though our ROI on live workshops is far greater than online leads, however, we still do the online leads because there's times where workshops are really slow, and there's times when leads are really slow. So you want to keep multiple avenues of marketing flowing through, and Garrett has absolutely mastered it. And he's going to share some tips today with us. So hopefully, if you're buying online leads, whether they be mortgage protection, Medicare, life insurance, final expense, or maybe it is annuity leads, you're going to get some cool insight and some tricks that you can use to help increase your ROI on the leads that you purchase. But Garrett wasn't always this successful in the practice. It took time. And that's what we always talk about, where it's not a get-rich-quick business. It takes time. You have to become professional. You have to know your stuff. And very similar to what we shared about with Ryan, where Garrett actually helped me in the very beginning. I was full-time in the business. He was more part-time. I said, dude, I need help, and you're really good at stuff that I'm not good at. Let's start working together. And that relationship sparked what we have today with Annuity Producers and our agency and everything else. So it's been a really fun journey, and there's lots of more ventures ahead. But before I get too far gone on rambling, I'm going to let Garrett go ahead and share a little bit about himself and how he got into the practice and how he's working these online leads. So Garrett, maybe you could share a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, of course, for the glowing introduction. Flattery will get you everywhere. Um, yeah, no, I think Roy's kind of touched on some of the major points. I got into the insurance business kind of by accident, and then it sort of I pivoted, and it kind of became my primary source of revenue. And Roy has a lot to do with that. We started off. He said that we're partners now, but it wasn't always that way. Roy very much was and still is in a lot of ways, a mentor to me. And yeah, so we have a fun dichotomy. We have different strengths and different weaknesses, certainly, and we just try and complement where we can. Yeah, without, my autobiography, I'll have that published later. We'll have that for sale on the
Autographs
side.
later.
Yeah, autographs later, everything. But no, so, here we are now today, and Roy and I are fortunate enough to be, have achieved some success in this business, to have started Annuity Producers. We love it. Roy is correct. We have a lot of fun doing this. And one thing that's cool about the online leads as a diversified lead source, like Roy was mentioning, is that, I mean, granted, yes, in-person workshops is one of the ways that we garner a lot of our business and has the best ROI just based on our numbers. I mean, we have real data to back it up. But online leads are a great diversified lead source. And what they do, even though maybe the ROI, it's still significantly good, we have about somewhere between 6 and 6.5 to 1 is what our return is on our online leads. So for every dollar we put in, we get paid 6.5 back. I mean, that's pretty dang good. If you're 6+ Xing whatever you're investing in, your chances are you're going to be pretty successful with that. Online leads are almost double that, or excuse me, the in-person workshops are almost double that. But there's also a lot more legwork. You have to get the venue together. There's a lot more time involved. There's a lot more time sunk into it. There's marketing that goes into it and everything, as opposed to just purchasing a phone verified lead and at your leisure and convenience, which hopefully you have leisure and convenience, because the sooner you call, the better. You can just reach out right from your desk. I call from literally where I'm sitting right now, and we do millions and millions of dollars of premium every year, just like that. So it's a great diversified lead source. And even if, the in-person workshops might have a better ROI, over 6x is nothing to shake a stick at, for sure. So it's definitely an
Right.
integral part of our practice, and it certainly is is great. And if we're having a dry spell like what Roy was saying on the online or the in-person leads, the online leads are just always there, kind of steady Eddie. So
Yeah, that's what's nice about it. They create a consistent flow just rolling through the door of interested prospects. So again, and these are online leads. Some of them are phone verified, some of them are not. The point is it's constant activity with people that have at least expressed a level of interest. And just like all leads, right? A lot of agents complain, oh, these leads suck, they're weak. And I always say, you're not, the leads aren't weak, you're weak. Like there's not a perfect lead system out there. All right. It would be a Fortune 500 company if it was, all right? None of these leads are perfect. However, if you get enough of them and you get talented enough to actually call them and know what to do with them, then that's where the magic happens. I mean, there's time frames where we'll spend, $5,000 on online leads and get nothing out of it. Other times, we'll buy an online lead for maybe $100 and roll over $500,000. Like you just don't know. The secret to this success here is the consistency of never turning them off. I watched our email accounts. We were getting leads like Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, right? I mean, these leads are flowing in. If we only relied upon the workshops, we wouldn't have had that opportunity to pick up those other leads. And so having the online lead flow is crucial. And as you grow your business, a part of reinvesting back into it is actually having diversity inside of your marketing budget for additional sources of business. That's why we spend money on not only the personal branding for the local area for online searches, the seminars, but also the online leads. And we have referral networks and partnership networks. We have all these different irons in the fire to get business. And that's what it takes to achieve these high levels of production. Otherwise, you're going to just be a mediocre producer and not be able to help too many people out. So by having this lead flow come in, it will dramatically change your career and your business, and you have to take a chance on it. Now, you want to practice a little bit too. And it's not like you just want to spend your money on an online lead and have no idea what to do with it. There is a systematic process. And I'm not saying that ours is perfect. What I'm saying is it actually works. And we're getting to what Garrett mentioned, 6 to 6.5% ROI. So if we spend 10 grand, who cares? We're going to make at least 60 grand back out of that. Easy math, right? We spend 100 grand, we're going to make 600 grand. And so you can scale it up that way. But it wasn't always to that point. When I first started on the online leads system, I was getting terrible rate of return. I was basically getting a 2x. I was still doubling the money, but it wasn't anything to write home about, especially in this business. In this business, you should be at minimum 4xing every dollar of investment per marketing because we have that opportunity with the way the revenues are designed. But the reason why I wasn't being very successful with it, I was doing what most agents were doing. I'd pick up the phone, call them, they didn't answer. No one answers their phone anyway. It'd go to voicemail, I try again, and then I just move on, right? And then I started using voicemail, and then I started text messaging. And then Garrett and I discovered this awesome program called Loom. I wish we got a referral fee from them. That'd be awesome. Loom, if you're watching this, sponsor us. It's only like 10 bucks a month. It's very inexpensive. And what it does is it allows you to record a short video with your phone, okay? And you don't need a fancy camera. All these podcasts are done on laptop cameras and iPhones. You don't need anything fancy. But what it does is it automatically compresses that video and audio file. So you can actually text it and email it. Try recording on your phone a 15-second video and texting it to somebody. If you have an iPhone, then Android won't take it. You have an Android, try to send it to iPhone, there's always challenges because the file size is so large. Well, this program actually condenses it. So Garrett, maybe you can talk a little bit about your process of when this online lead comes in, what is your attack plan with them?
Yeah, it's like Roy said, nothing is perfect. There's no perfect system, and there's no one size fits all for any of these clients anyway. I mean, these are all different, unique individuals and everything like that. But yeah, typically the best success that we've achieved over the course of time. And before I even get into that, don't be discouraged if you're not. If, there's going to be a handful that you're never going to talk to. You could call them till you're blue in the face. You can call them twice a day, every day, and they're never going to pick up the phone. It just is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. You can't let that get you down. If you're closing 20% of the online leads that you receive, not even the ones you talk to, but the ones that you receive, 2 out of every 10, you're going to be successful. And that's I'm probably a little bit higher than that right now, but I didn't start out that way. And I was starting off maybe even less than 10% I was closing. And you still can get, a 2, 3, 4x with that alone. So that's something just right out of the gate, not to be discouraged. And that's kind of par for the course. And if you talk to anybody worth their salt, anybody who's done a lot of online leads or anybody who's a vendor who's, upfront about it, they're going to tell you the same thing. So my process essentially is, the name of the game is to strike while the iron's hot. Because if these are phone verified, for example, or as soon as the lead comes in, regardless of the source and how it's sourced, as soon as it comes in, you want to try and get to that person as quickly as you possibly can because it's fresh in their mind. They're clearly available. If it's phone verified, they just got off the phone with one of the phone verifiers and things like that. So it's already on the top of their mind. They're ready to have a conversation. That would be the time. So a lot of agents, one of the first pitfalls is, well, they just got off the phone. I'm going to give them a moment to kind of, collect themselves, gather themselves. No, because guess what? If they're busy or they're doing something else, they just simply won't answer the phone. It's the same as if you give them a moment as well. So you want to strike while the iron's hot. That's kind of the first sort of key point where I see a lot of agents maybe not necessarily maximizing what they could do. At that point, you're gonna either speak to somebody or you're not. So let's say first they don't answer the phone. What's a good follow-up process? Because Roy touched on this. It's, think about it. Put yourself in this person's shoes. You might be at the grocery store and you really want to have a conversation with somebody about something, and they want to call you about, your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, whatever, and you need to talk to them. You know that, and you really want to. But sorry, I'm in the middle of the grocery store. I got my screaming kids and this, that, and the other thing. You're not picking up because you're like, oh, screw this person. You just happen to be busy doing something. It's your goldfish's birthday, whatever, right? So don't be afraid to continually and consistently reach out to these prospects. And so what'll happen is if the lead doesn't answer, I will leave a voicemail for sure. I'll say who I am. I'll reference the way that they came to across my desk. If they're local, I'll mention that I'm a local advisor. If we're looking to have a cast a wider net, I'll say I'm a national advisor, or you'll develop your own kind of verbiage and the way that you sort of frame everything over the course of time. And it'll be unique to you. This is just my process. Like I said, there's nothing here is perfect.
Right.
But in the message, I'll say who I am, how they came across, that I'm referencing this is in response to your request for information, right? I'm not cold calling you out of the blue. I'm not a stranger. Like you came to me because you were requesting information and I'm the one that's going to provide it for you. And then that's exactly what I say. My goal is for us to hop on a phone visit so that I can provide you with the information that you're seeking, whether that's custom examples of how you can implement this. We'll talk about your goals and strategies and ways of implementing that. And I'll also say in my message, and by the way, this is all 100% complimentary. And my goal is to provide you with the information that you're seeking. If you, at the end of it all, determine that annuity is not a good fit for you, they're not right for everybody. You won't hurt my feelings. And that kind of breaks down walls and barriers. And it takes you from being a salesperson and what we consider ourselves to be, and where we've achieved success in this practice is by being educators first and foremost. If you can educate somebody on how this works, how they can implement it, and if you ask the right questions and you understand what their goals are, and you can bridge that gap from here's where we are now, here's where we want to be, and here's a vehicle that we can use to get there, here's how it works. At that point, they say, okay, great. Now, how do we implement that? So I'll
Right.
leave all that on a voicemail. I'll use the software that Roy mentioned, and I'll immediately record a video that says much the same, except for you see my face, and I'll just say, hey, this is Garrett Burrow from, name your lead source, right? They all have different names that they use that the client has clicked on for their URL. I want to put a face to the name, et cetera, et cetera. This is a personalized video for you. Literally, they're 1 minute long. I've got it down to the point where I have a spiel, if you want to call it that, just similar things that I say in almost every video, and it's no more than a minute. Real easy. Loom, like to Roy's point, compresses the file so I can send it to them in a text. I've already got a text template that I use for folks that I didn't get to talk with. That text, basically, it's just short and punchy. Here's who I am. Here's how I got your name. Here's
Yeah.
my calendar link. Oh, and by the way, here's a video of me just saying hello, and we'll find a time from here. Easy, right? You don't need to write a novel in the text message. No one's going to read it anyway, right? The goal is to get somebody to call you back or to get somebody on the calendar. And then
Yeah.
finally, what I do is I have an email template where I do the exact same thing. I use a thumbnail embedded link using that software so you can actually see it's not just a random link that looks suspicious. You actually see a thumbnail image of the video that I'm sending. And that's my first opening volley. And then yeah, Roy, I'll kind of shut up for now. And but that's the process. If the lead doesn't answer, is a voicemail. There's a text message with an attached video, and there's an email with an attached video that all go out within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the voicemail that I've left for the
Yeah, and that's
prospect.
really important too. And the main reason why, and that Garrett's having the success that he is on closing these deals, is because these are annuity leads. All right, this is not like final expense or life insurance or Medicare. Let's be real. You're not selling Medicare. You're just enrolling people in a mandatory option, right? I mean, so like this is much more challenging than saying, hey, you want a supplement versus an Advantage plan. If you die, the insurance company is going to pay the money to pay off your mortgage. That's a way easier conversation saying, hey, look, I'm this random guy that you filled out some lead form online at 2 a.m. and I'm going to talk to you about moving all of your money into this magical annuity that you've heard nothing but bad things about your whole life. But trust me, I'm a good person. I'm a real person. There's a much more higher barrier of entry. But when you put a face to the video, it creates personalization. In today's world, everything is done like, oh, I'll just give them an email or a text message. If I get a video of somebody saying, hey, this is me, Roy, you called about the annuity rates, I'm here to help you out. Just want to put a face to the name. I am a real person. I'm not a robo-caller. Here's my direct line. Feel free to text me back. I also sent you an email. I look forward to giving you the best rates possible and answering all of your questions that you have. Boom. Something really simple like that. It makes it different because no one else is doing it. The other key follow-up point too, once you're on the phone with the lead and you're talking with them, and as you're summarizing your conversation, you say, you know what, I'd like to send you some additional information for you to review. Everyone wants you to send them something, and that's one of the biggest objections. Just email it to me. But when you do that, what you're asking for is their mailing address. And you don't say, hey, where do you live? You say, hey, what's the best address for me to send you something that you can review, right? And you print out some materials, little brochure about yourself, copy of your book, if you have a book. If not, you can white label our books that we wrote and use those. But just use something that you can mail to them. Now you've put not only a voice to it, you put a face to it, and now you're sending them something to their home generally, and then they're gonna get mailed a packet. It's physical. They can touch the material, right? This is me and Tom Hagna's Don't Worry, Retire Happy book, but the white label program through Tom Hagna. Even though we wrote our own books, we still white label other people's books because they work good, okay? But they have something physical to put into their hand. That makes a huge connection. Right? And you also always want to offer to meet with them if possible. Hey, look, maybe Garrett has a client. We're down towards Austin, and there's $1 million rollover in Dallas. Do you think he's not going to drive 3 hours to go up there? No. If that $1 million rollover was a pretty solidified deal, I would hop on a plane and fly. In fact, I used to have to do that. Prior to COVID, you couldn't sell annuities unless you were face-to-face with the majority of all the carriers. And so I had to fly out there. I'd fly out for a $50,000 rollover. People are like, that's crazy. Not really. It's one whole day of my time, a $300 round trip plane ticket. Even if it was $500 round trip plane ticket, and I'm going to do 50,000 and make 3,500 bucks. Cool. 3,500 bucks for one day's time and $500 in expenses. I will do that. Okay. So you have to think bigger about this. Now, you probably wouldn't do that for a mortgage protection lead. That would be crazy, or a final expense lead, or even a Medicare enrollment lead. But for annuities, it's a whole different world. You have an opportunity to massively increase your ROI. And like anything else, if you have an opportunity to make more, it's going to cost you more to get there. So that's something else that you have to realize. Any decent online lead is going to cost you anywhere between $250 to over $1,000 per lead. But if they're charging that much, they're probably working. And we've vetted most all the companies out there, and we share them all the time on our Thursday training calls, which are free. Links in the description. Just go to annuityproducers.com. No contracts, no recruiting, just pure training on live case design for agents only. And you can see how we actually do all this. So we share everything we can. It just takes action on your part to do it. The other thing too about online leads, and I'll let Garrett share some stories here, is that they may say no right now, or they may not answer. And like T said, you can call them till you're blue in the face, nothing will happen. But every now and then, you'd be surprised, a lead will call back, or they'll reach back out. Or maybe you put a little tickle list on, and you follow up with them in 6 months. And then they answer the phone and they're ready to go. Garrett, maybe you could share a story about how you thought an online lead was dead and then it turned into a deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's countless stories of that. There was I had folks that I spoke to in February that seemed like, oh yeah, it's kind of a good idea, but I've got this, that, and the other thing going. And in November, so nearly 9 months later, we did almost $1 million together. But over the course of that time, we got to know each other, so we developed a rapport and things like that. So sometimes, you're not going to convert this into a sale immediately. But what we've developed over the course of time is like I could pick up the phone and I could call this couple at any point, and we can just chop it up and have a conversation. We know about each other's lives and things like that. So that's just one example of, I could have just said, "Oh, okay, well, you're not ready. Well, call me when you are," and then it's done. It's over. So it does require the online leads do require you to follow up. And again, don't be scared to do that. If you think that you're beating someone's door down and you're being like a pest, let them be the judge of that. Because I can't tell you how many times where I feel like, like, gosh, I've called this person 3 days in a row. Like, is that too much? And then it's like, well, I just kind of started playing with some different tactics and things. And so, day four, oh, thank goodness you called. Yeah, I've been so busy. I saw that you called, everything. Thank you for following up. Thank you for your persistency, things like that. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. That's more the rule. The exception is, hey, you've reached out to me too many times, because in today's day and age, if you don't want to take a call, you just go, oh, no thanks, done, and then you
Right.
forget about it. It's not a personal affront to you. You're not like, man, this guy just won't leave me alone. I mean, yeah, granted, you're not calling somebody 6, 7 times a day, right? A call and a text once a day. Okay, that's as far as I go. I'm not going to sit there and really beat somebody's door down, but yeah, I mean, countless examples of, this isn't for me. And then we just pivot and we talk about different things, or the timing is not right, or, you fill in the blank. But with persistency and consistency, you will definitely be successful. And you'll find that a lot of these folks will come back. And the last thing I'll mention here is not only that, but I also have several clients who, I mean, I just had one client, we've written now 4, maybe 5 policies together over the course of many years. So this started. I was actually out of town. I was on the West Coast on vacation when this lead came in. I looked at my wife and I was like, I just need 5 minutes. I'm gonna call this person real quick,
There
tell
you
them I'm not
go.
available right now, but just set it up for later. I did that. The person answered. We set up a call for the following Monday when we were going to be back in town. And now this gentleman actually just sent me a referral for a friend of his that, even though he and I have written 4 or 5 policies together, we have 2 more that we're writing this month. And he sent me a referral from his friend. So these are sometimes turn into these kind of lasting relationships where I mean, when he's ready, he calls me up and goes, "Hey, I had this happen or this financial event happen, and I want,
Yep.
this type of plan that you mentioned, 6 months ago when we talked last." Okay, sounds good. You become an order taker at that point. Who doesn't want to be that? If somebody's calling you with an order
Right.
and you just have to fill it, easy. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of legs to that. And like I said, persistency and consistency are the two keys that I've found for success.
Yeah, yeah, I'll share a story here. I think one of the best examples, we had an online lead come in, and the guy ended up going with another agent. We lost the sale, right? And that's
Mm,
rare. But the other guy had lived closer, went to their house. Everything was all handy dandy. It was cordial. They're like, "Hey, look, we're just going to move forward. This, no problem at all. No hard feelings. Whatever. It's just move on, right? We don't hang on to things." And so that sale was lost. And then, little alone, about a year and a half later, that guy reaches out again, fills out another online lead. Of course, Garrett's like, "Hey, Wes, how's it been?" And if you dominate your market and you buy all these online lead sources, these people are like, "My goodness, are you like the only place to go?" And so he filled out this lead. Long story short, we were able to replace that policy. And the reason why we were able to replace it is because it wasn't exactly explained correctly to their understanding, and they wanted a different goal with the money at that time. So it wasn't a bad sale, the first sale by any means, but their goals had changed and they wanted to reshop it around. And Garrett was able to get that sale. And it was just amazing because we spent the money on the lead once, didn't win, and then we had to buy it again. But then we did end up winning, and it was 300 plus thousand and change rollover. It's like, all right, cool. And yeah, did it take a year and a half to accomplish and $600 later? That's fine. If I told you, hey, look, can you wait a year and a half and give me 600 or give me $1,000 and wait a year and a half and I'm going to pay you $21,000? Everyone right now would be asking what my Zelle account is because, and that's how this business works out. You never know. I've had seminar people attend the workshop. They've never met with me. And then 3 or 4 years later, they call me out of the blue and say, you know what, we're ready. And I'm like, okay, who are you again? I can like look at our system. The long-term effect of this, you can't be short-sighted thinking on these lead sources. If you buy an annuity lead and it doesn't work out, it does not mean that it's dead, right? There's other programs. We talked about it. Financial Eyes has Lead Revival. There's other ways that you can follow up yourself and just drip on these people. And yeah, the most of them, you're not going to win it. But all it takes is one to totally change your career. You're only one deal away from that $1 million rollover and earning $50,000 to $70,000 in revenue that can totally change your career and practice. So again, we try to keep these podcasts short just because we're agents also. We have a very short attention span and we have like a long laundry list. Both Garrett and I together, if you combined our calendars on an average day, there's almost 15 appointments happening every single day. And we still have to talk and manage and do all the other things for the business. So it's a constant whirlwind. But to find out more about this, we're actually going to have a specific training at the Annuity Producers Live Conference. You can find out more by going to annuityproducers.com. We do it every single year. So even if you're watching us 5 years from now, we do it every single year. And we're going to have a specific training on the actual lead calling. We're going to give you live examples of it, live recordings, the exact step-by-step guide. And there's no contract commitment or anything. This is an educational company, Annuity Producers. It's an event company. We're not an agency. We're not an IMO. Do we have our own team? Yes, we have our own team. But the purpose of these calls is just to provide education and value. So you want to check out the live event. We're going to have some great people there. Again, Tom Hegna, Van Mueller, all kinds of Bill Broach, all kinds of other industry legends. And you want to be a part of that because guess what? It's the only live national conference that actually educates you. And in the interim of that, you want to join our free Thursday Zoom training calls if you're an agent. If you're a consumer, then you can go ahead and hop on one of our bi-weekly webinars that we host on Roth conversions, retirement income planning, Social Security, and all the other fun stuff. So again, we thank everyone for coming. Garrett, thanks so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to do this video podcast to help these agents capitalize on online leads, and we will see each other on the next video.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody.
All righty.